Have you noticed how often warmth turns to critique the moment you set a boundary? How the promise of tenderness becomes a tribunal? How the more you explain yourself, the less you are believed? You were told to be open, to listen, to prove you are safe. And you did. And still the rules moved. You called it bad luck, then modern dating, then today's women, until the mirror spoke. Carl Jung would say you are wrestling not with individuals alone, but with archetypes, patterns older than biography. He named a spectrum of the feminine within every psyche, light and dark. When the dark is denied, it does not disappear, it distorts. In some women, it surfaces as style. In many men, it lives as projection. This is not a license to hate. It is a demand to see. Once you can name the dark feminine at work, in you and across from you, you stop being a mark for glamour and start becoming a man who selects reality over spell. Jung's dark feminine is not a verdict on women. It is a name for energies that can possess anyone when the feminine principle is split off from consciousness. He described the anima, the inner feminine in a man, as a bridge to meaning when integrated and a sorceress when repressed. He noted corresponding patterns in women when the animus, the inner masculine, turns from reason and courage into opinionated hardness. From these fractures emerge familiar figures: the devouring mother who protects by possession, the siren who eroticizes chaos to keep attention near, the witch who wields contempt like a spell, the ice queen who replaces eros with control. None of these are a woman's essence. They are masks a psyche can wear when fear governs love. Modern life feeds these masks. The attention market rewards intermittent reward. Outrage economies prize public shaming over private repair. Therapeutic language becomes a stage where accusation performs as care. Men are not innocent either. An unworked anima trains them to chase storms and call it chemistry, to confuse rescue with devotion, to mistake projection for recognition. In that confusion, two half-truths collide. A woman acting out a dark pattern meets a man possessed by the image that requires exactly that pattern to keep his narrative alive. Jung's medicine begins with discrimination. The psyche runs on symbols. Reality runs on patterns. Learn to see both at once. Symbols tell you what a bond means to your depths. Patterns tell you what the bond does to your days. If the symbol is luminous, but the pattern shrinks your life, you are not in love. You are in spell. If the pattern is steady, but the symbol is dead, you are not committed. You are numbed. The point is not to flee women or worship them. It is to retire from the theater where you cast them and start testing the room you are in. To do this, you have to admit two affronting truths. First, the dark feminine lives in you as much as anywhere, whispering that submission to excitement is destiny. Second, some people do choose to wear these masks and will not remove them just because you bring sincerity. With those admissions, you regain sight. Clarity is not cruelty. It is the beginning of adult love. The devouring mother is the child's savior and the adult's jailer. In Jung's language, she is the negative mother complex. Care hardened into control. Comfort weaponized into custody. In modern relationships, she appears as sweetness tied to infantilization. She organizes your calendar, interprets your motives, rewards compliance with warmth, and punishes autonomy with moral weather. She frames your boundaries as abandonment and your silence as guilt. It feels like being loved because needs are met quickly. It feels like being erased because the price of warmth is your adulthood. Many men volunteer for this because their own anima is stuck in boyhood. Jung named that pattern pure eternus, the eternal adolescent who floats on potential and avoids weight. The devouring pattern and the pure fit each other like locks and keys. She needs to manage to feel safe. He needs to be managed to feel precious. Together, they stabilize anxiety and kill respect. The more she mothers, the less you move. The less you move, the more she must mother. Intimacy collapses into supervision, desire into caretaking, truth into tone management. Recognition starts with the arithmetic of agency. Track how much of your week is built on your word versus her worry. Count how often decisions are delayed until her mood is good. Notice whether your successes are welcomed or quietly punished with distance and critique. Notice whether your failures receive attention that keeps you dependent. The devouring mother often praises your sensitivity while quietly resenting your sovereignty. This is not malice, it is a system. The system survives by keeping you soft enough to steer. Jung would not tell you to fight a mother with tantrum. He would tell you to grow up. Individuation, his word for adulthood, is the cure not only for boyhood, but also for being devoured. When you install an inner father, law you respect, you no longer need a maternal manager. Your tenderness ceases to be a permission slip for your drift and becomes generosity under aim. The relationship then faces a true test. Some partners will relax when you take your weight. Their mothering was defense, not identity. Others will escalate because their identity requires your smallness. This is where you must refuse a sentimental lie, that more empathy will turn custody back into care. You can love without returning to the high chair. You can endure protest without arguing for permission to be grown. If the warmth depends on being handled, it is not warmth, it is ownership. Jung's counsel is simple and severe. Choose the pain of separation over the ache of self-loss. If she wants a man, she will meet you at the door. If she wants a son, she will remain at the stove. Do not confuse the smell of soup with the fact of a cage. The siren is the dark anima's favorite dress in the age of infinite scroll. She keeps attention by mixing promise with doubt, proximity with distance, tenderness with tests. Intermittent reinforcement is her instrument. She knows instinctively what casinos know. The variable reward hooks deeper than certainty. Jung would say that a man with an unintegrated anima is pre-hypnotized for this music. He is starved for meaning, so he reads voltage as value. He is allergic to boredom, so he confuses chaos with life. The siren never needs to lie. She needs only to oscillate and watch you fill the gaps with poetry. The pattern has markers. Your world narrows to reaction. Your phone becomes a liturgy of hoping and checking. Plans shrink because you are always near the dock, waiting for the song to resume. Your standards soften in exchange for a hit of attention. When you name the inconsistency, you are accused of insecurity. When you step back to think, you are accused of withdrawal. The beauty of the pattern for the pattern is that either accusation returns you to orbit. You rush to prove you are neither insecure nor cold, and there you are, singing along. Jung's antidote is humiliating at first because it is simple. Replace story with verification. Delay disclosures and watch whether interest deepens or only the pressure does. Keep your prior commitments, especially the quiet ones, and study whether you are met with respect or drama. Move, touch, and talk at the pace of proof, rather than the heat of projection. The siren's spell depends on speed. Slow is the solvent. You are not punishing anyone. You are forcing your anima to ask for reality before worship. Do not deny eros. Integrate it. The siren is the shadow of real feminine magnetism, which wants to be taken seriously, not taken over. If you treat every spark like a trap, you will become hard where you should be grateful. The task is discrimination, not suspicion. Ask whether your life gets larger in body, work, and friendship as this bond grows, or whether everything funnels toward her stage. Jung's test is practical. self, his name for your deep center, enlarges your world even as it concentrates you. Possession shrinks your world while flattering your story. Choose by that fruit. Finally, admit the part of you that prefers the song to the shore. Thank him for his hunger, then seat him in the back. Spell-breaking hurts because intensity felt like identity. But the man who can sit through a quiet evening without needing a crisis is the man who can carry a real woman without trying to turn her into a soundtrack. The siren sings to unbuilt men. Build. The witch in Jung's lexicon is not a cartoon. She is contempt given a halo. She feeds on moral superiority and turns language into hexes. In modern form, she arranges tribunals on group chats, smears reputations in the name of safety, and treats disagreement as harm to preserve her throne of grievance. Jung would read this as animus gone rogue. The inner masculine in a woman, severed from logos and courage, becomes a swarm of opinions policing reality. Men feel it as a fog where facts evaporate and tone is judged as truth. This pattern is dangerous because it recruits your persona, the mask you show the world. You start speaking to avoid accusation rather than to convey reality. You pad sentences, confess in public to buy absolution, accept charges you did not earn to keep social oxygen. The witch thrives on that economy. Her power is not in evidence but in atmosphere. If she can make you afraid of the room, she is won before the conversation starts. Jung's counsel begins with the oldest tool, reality testing. Keep receipts, attach dates and actions to claims, move debate from air to ground. When gossip circulates, refuse to answer to ghost courts. Insist on directness or withdraw your presence. Do not perform your innocence for spectators who profit from accusation. Speak cleanly to those who can be addressed. Be silent to those who want a spectacle. Silence here is not weakness. It is refusal to feed a fire that burns houses and calls the smoke holy. A further move is private mercy. The witch often grows from injury. Rage found a weapon and learned that audiences pay for it. You do not need to hate her to stop obeying her. You need to separate justice from theater. Offer processes that protect truth. Witness questions time. If these are refused, you have learned that the aim was never repair. Exit with clarity. Jung's work is not about winning every room. It is about refusing to lose yourself to rooms that demand your self-betrayal as admission. Men must also watch their own inner witch. Sneering at the feminine, generalizing one woman into all, turning every standard into a sermon, are ways your animus goes bad too. Contempt feels like strength for 5 minutes and like rot by Friday. Return to craft, service, and exact speech. The antidote to hex talk is the sentence that can be checked. The antidote to the tribunal is the life that stays one face in every room. The witch cannot curse what does not answer to her altar. The Ice Queen is power without eros, sovereignty defended by distance. In Jung's terms, she is the feminine frozen under an animus that trusts control more than communion. She prefers transactions to trust because trust is an exposure she vowed never to feel again. Modern life furnishes her with justification. Performance metrics reward detachment. Social scripts praise self-sufficiency, while quietly asking for presence. A man who meets the Ice Queen feels wanted and excluded at the same time, welcomed into schedule but not into soul. The trap for men is twofold. The pure part in you may chase her winter as a chance to prove worth. The cynic part in you may match her frost to preserve pride. Both responses miss the point. Jung would have you check whether you are relating to a person or to a defense. The Ice Queen is often a woman who survived real storms and learned to make snow her armor. She will not thaw for your performance. She will test whether your warmth carries law. whether your boundaries free her from managing you, whether your admiration is steady without begging. Practical markers matter. Does intimacy deepen without constant audition? Do your differences produce dialogue instead of dossier building? Do plans hold without your rescue? Does her strength find a complement in your steadiness rather than a rival to defeat? If not, understand the limit. You cannot melt another adult. You can only bring a climate. Jung's mature eros is not a blaze that burns both down, but a hearth that warms without consuming. Bring that and see who sits. If she cannot, do not take it as an indictment of your fire or proof that all women are cold. Take it as information about one story that is not yours to end. Men must face their own freeze. Work can become your ice king when you use competence to avoid communion. When you hide ambition behind chivalry that never risks being seen. When you call your fear of need standards. Jung's integration asks you to pair edge with openness, law with play, schedule with presence. The Ice Queen becomes less interesting when your life already has winter and spring. Then you can recognize whether she is a partner who can garden with you or a glacier that will ask you to drill forever. There is dignity in ending politely. The dark feminine loses hold where men refuse to punish with withdrawal or beg with pursuit. State what you can offer, what you require, and what you will not trade. Hold it. Either you will meet a queen who relaxes, or a fortress that prefers the wind. Respect both and choose your path. Jung's project was never to purge the dark, but to integrate it. The dark feminine, inside and out, is a teacher when you stop asking it to be a god. The devouring mother reminds you to grow a spine so care can be love instead of management. The siren reminds you to build a life big enough that boredom does not send you back to storms. The witch reminds you to ground speech in reality and keep your soul out of courts that pay in fear. The Ice Queen reminds you to bring a climate that pairs law with warmth, so strength is not a synonym for solitude. When you learn those lessons, archetypes lose their teeth and keep their wisdom. Individuation does not make you suspicious. It makes you specific. You stop saying women are and start saying this pattern does. You stop begging for exceptions and start building standards. You select slowly, verify gently, and withdraw cleanly. You keep your anima by your side rather than letting it drive, so you can admire without worship and leave without hatred. You treat your shadow as a workshop, not a landfill, turning aggression into courage and hunger into work. You speak simply, enforce quietly, and reserve your inner altar for promises you intend to keep under weather. Expect resistance. Archetypes love an audience, and you are leaving the theater. Friends who fed on your chaos will call you dull. Partners who needed your softness to steer will call you hard. Crowds that thrived on your confessions will call you cold. Measure your life by fruit. Are your mornings clearer? Are your projects steadier? Are your friendships fewer and stronger? Does a woman near you relax because your climate is readable? That is the test. Jung's psychology is not a romance for clever men. It is a discipline for honest men who want to love and be trusted without surrendering their name. You reach the end, which already separates you from men who prefer myth to map. If this named what you keep meeting and showed you where it lives in you, break the wall with me. Like this video and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Share this to a brother trapped between spell and bitterness, and subscribe if you want psychology with a blade.